Hello and welcome to Amare Divina, a space of spiritual sovereignty, freedom, light, love, and reclamation. I'm just going to raise the energy by clearing away anything that might keep us from understanding what is here for us, anything that might obscure the clarity of these messages. So you may pick a direction if you'd like: north, west, south, and east, or you can follow the directions to see what unfolds on each path. It's completely up to you. I'm going to be moving counterclockwise for anyone that's interested in following this path. And we will begin with Medicine Mother. Honor your inner knowing. And for Medicine Mother's message and lesson, we have the Miser, stubbornness, inflexibility, the Ace of Wands reversed, Divine Sunchild from the Isis deck, and the Fool card. Honor your inner knowing. There may be some resistance to new developments within your energetic body, a knowing that has blossomed forth, and it may have happened so rapidly and so quickly that there is a piece of you, an intellectual piece of you, that says, no, 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 this isn't how things work. And so you may tap into that sometimes as a fail-safe, because tapping into that makes you more acceptable by others. It gives you something to say to them when they ask you why you did X, Y, and Z. However, it is a disservice, because you cannot create what others need, what others will value, if you are not creating from the space that you are called to create from. There's a spark within you that needs to be fostered. It needs to continuously be matched. It needs to continuously be acknowledged so that it may self-produce by virtue of your attention and intention, by virtue of your creative and power of creation. Your creative intuition is what's coming through. And so, fight and block as you may, you will come to these shores. And you will embrace all that's flowing to you, and you will channel that through you. Medicine Mother is telling you that you are the answer to your own blockages, that you are the tincture, the salve for your wounds, internal and external. You are what you require to move forward, and nothing else. And so, this inflexibility that you have been projecting at this time is momentary, and it is but a bit of a knot in the road, a kink in the road, but it will be soothed and it will be massaged one way or the other. However, you will know magic if you consciously decide to work that out. But on your own time, it is understood on your own time. There is free will here. And so, if you need to further investigate and explore that path of resistance, that path of wondering if this really is the way, that path of wondering if everything that has been taught to you, sold to you, pushed to you, is true or not. If you have not learned enough, if you've not experienced for yourself enough the futility in those old ways, then you may continue to learn as you will. But please know the energy is much different now, and so these lessons will be quite prevalent. They will be obvious. That's how you wanted it. Nothing will be allowed to dim your light at this time. And so there was a bit of a oomph to this. I keep seeing a block being dropped. You creating your own blockages and they're dropped. They're like big stone blocks is being dropped in front of your feet. And so you can't see how to get around it. The idea of going through a big stone block is unnerving. No, it's magical to you. The idea of going through a block is magical to you. It's freeing to you. You know you can do that. You know, but you don't know. I see. There's a push and pull here. You feel as though you feel a little stuck in this energy. All that you need will be provided to you. It will require some self-reflection. You may need to sit with yourself a bit, stare at yourself a bit, affirm yourself into your new way, your new path, your new state of being. And this is a service for you, but it is a service for everyone around you. But most prominently, they want to focus on it being a service for you. This will bring monumental changes in your heart space and how you feel, your self-worth, your self-value. I just keep being called to a color. It's a magenta pink. If I remember, I read somewhere the magenta pink souls were quite light souls. The thing I read was saying how they could be naive, and I didn't like that because I felt like they weren't naive. They just knew higher truths. They understood them and they embodied them. And they went out into the world with those truths. But at the same time, there were other energies working upon them, collective energies that they took on, and it undermined their own knowing. That's what happens. They're not naive. They're just trying to balance two energies that don't go together. They cancel each other out, so to speak. And so you are being called to embrace the magenta soul ray that you may be carrying around, or auric color at this time. Maybe these colors change and it's not a permanent thing for you, but you're being called to embrace the magic of the magenta pink colors within that soul body, to play and have fun and toy with magic in whatever form it may present itself to you. And magic takes many forms. It isn't just what you see in, well, I feel like a lot of movies portray magic in so many different ways that there's got to be some truth to those different portrayals. But sure, words are spells. That's true. But sometimes energy, just states of being. I feel like there's rituals and things you feel called to do. Maybe as a child you toyed around with the idea of being magical, and maybe even not that long ago you toyed with the idea of being magical, and it's a good idea to introduce it into your everyday life, just how you make your warm drink in the morning or how you drink your water, just adding some little element. Maybe you just imagine you see little speckles of like diamondy colors going through your water, and you decide what that means. You're being asked to toy with it in whatever way you intuitively feel drawn to toy with it, because that intuitive imaginative pull, it's more than just this figment of your imagination. It's more than this made up little thing. It's a remembrance of some kind. So the more you toy with that, you're going to see the effects that it's having in your outer world, and you're going to pull more and more on that remembrance. And you're going to reintroduce ideas within our collective that have been sort of been shrouded and hidden, just magical ways of living. And that doesn't mean having to tell another, just the fact that you're doing it, embodying it, sends a signal to everyone else on an energetic level, and it opens them up if they're matched to that at the time. And that's what the Fool card is reminding me of. And also spending time. There's a huge light here that needs to be nurtured. You need to continue to nurture that light within you. I'm going to read the Isis card. Yeah. Because the Ace of Wands refused. Well, there you go. There's a confirmation. It's a refusal of a call in this one. And the refusal, you need to let go and let things unfold as they will. And it doesn't matter what the structure looks like. If the structure doesn't make sense in this hardcore 3D world, I'm saying 3D just because that's the best way I can explain it. And you need to let whatever's coming up come up and be released. And embrace the full energy. And it's reminding me of this quote someone said. I can't remember, but they said that something about experts and the beginner's mind. It's like the beginner's mind will find a million different possibilities and the experts will only find a few, or even say something's impossible. But a beginner's mind will find a million possibilities, and that's what you need. You need to embrace that in beginner's mind and lay aside that identity as an expert, because the beginner is aware of the in-between stuff. And they don't even know it, and they're not afraid. And this is a beginner that's not being shoulders not being looked over, right? Because when we're a beginner and we know someone's watching over us, it sort of stifles our creativity. It stifles us wanting to play around or make mistakes and so on. I'm just taking a moment to gather messages trying to come through. There's a lot coming through from you. Oh. There's a lot coming through from you. There's a lot being reflected back to you. Is that it? Projections. There's a lot being received from you, being reflected back to you, being mirrored to you. Your environment is trying to hint at things to you. It's picking up on whatever you think or say and then reflecting that back to you, trying to prove to you you're trying to prove to yourself the magic of synchronicity. And you're going overboard. So you're probably seeing a whole lot of matching things in your environment. Just you say this and this happens. You think this and this happens. Like it's all lining up pretty well. And it's hard for you to look away. And it's revealing to you the doll within the doll within the doll within the doll. If that makes sense. That's what's coming out here. That's so interesting. There's a mirror that I keep looking at and it won't let me stop looking at it. And it has something to do with you. It will not and I'm not someone that just stares in the mirror all day. So nothing against anyone who does that. But maybe there's some kind of exercise that's going to come through for you regarding mirror work. Ooh, maybe I'm not going to put labels on it. I'm being guided not to do that. But something to do with mirrors. I think it's so that you'll keep your mind open to what that may be instead of me putting delineation on it, because you're working on letting go of barriers, letting go of things that hold you in place, letting go of anything that limits what makes you infinite in nature. So I'm going to read this for you. It is, blessings of the sun flow to you now. It is time to allow your life to flourish without limits. Yes, to let your light burn bright and without veil, just like the midsummer sun burning without contest in the Egyptian desert. It is time to shine bright. All right. Well, that is the Medicine Mother's message. I'm now going to move on to the West. Oh, there's another message coming through, Medicine Mother, which is that I'm getting the sense of cocooning, being held in every way possible, that you can relax and you can let go and that you are held and cocooned. And if you'd like, you can visit this space within your own alone time to imagine and embrace and feel that. Because when you do that, things are being taken away and lifted from you, with your permission, of course. And it's making space for other things. Because you are seen on every level. And something about your energetic body. So if that's something you study. How many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are there 7 of them? Yeah. There are 7 of them. I'm referring to, if you're interested, you don't obviously have to do this, but it's something about there being a mental body, an emotional body, a causal body, atomic body, There's the monad, that's the top one, the seventh one, that they all will be subsumed by. And one reflects a higher mind, one reflects like a higher emotions. I'm not an expert on this, but I'm being called to share it with you because it may bring some type of revelation for you. And there are 7 of them, and that I may not have even named all 7. All right, now I'm going to move on to the next master, teacher, master. Okay. Moving to the west, we have Wise One, grow within your current situation. And your cards are the astronomer, discovery, augury. I don't know what that word means. I'm going to have to look that up. Your card is the 9 of Wands. Your Isis card is Divine Guardian. And we have Temperance. So something that I immediately got is that whatever it is that you're going through or will be going through, the horns of the goddess. Okay. Just let me organize my thoughts. This makes me think of the horns of the goddess. If you're into, what is it, QHHT, quantum hypnosis therapy, QHTT, I don't know, I might be getting the letters wrong. But it's when people go under hypnosis to discover their past lives, a lot of which are on other planets and things like that. Or sometimes it's in ancient Earth, and what they'll discover is all these ancient belief systems that were sort of obscured and hidden away because of other powers and orders that wanted to come to be. And they knew that in order for them to have power, that the populace needed to be in fear, because people in fear are easier to control, and they're also sort of giving away their power. They're helping to feed other structures that are not beneficial to them. And it was helpful to wipe out certain, basically any belief that didn't align with the idea of there being someone between you and a higher power, between you and source, God, universe, God, source or God, whatever you want to call it, goddess, whatever it is that you, if you believe, whatever, that higher thing that created you and put you here. And the horned goddess, which is above the owl, this is about wisdom here. Obviously, this is the wise one. There, if you listen to, or if you're interested in hearing about other people's past lives and what they've uncovered on this earth or other planet, on this earth is what's coming through. The wisdom of this earth is what's important. So the horned goddess, there's a book by Dolores Cannon, who is no longer with us, but she did quantum something hypnosis. Quantum hypnosis. I feel like it's QHHT or QHT, and there's a series of connections to something called the Horned Goddess in there, and it's where they honored nature and they were still able to see certain beings, and they had to hide themselves away because during this time certain religious groups were coming into power, and so they had to hide, and they were just terrified of being found out because there would be torture and all that involved, because those powers wanted their power. So they also wanted to know how they did what they did, but they would rather transition or extinguish this life than give those secrets away, because they didn't want that power to be in the wrong hands. If you're interested in knowing more, I would check out the Dolores Cannon book, The Horned Goddess. I didn't listen to the whole thing. It started getting to parts about the bard, and I will be honest and tell you I didn't get through all that. I still can, though. I still can. And maybe I will after this reading. So what I'm getting from this is that there's a lot to be discovered about yourself within the natural laws of this earth and the connection to this earth. And there are several ways that you can do that. There are many different types of arts that are revealing themselves at this time that allow us to get into connection and contact with all of these, I'm going to say, blueprint factors that make us up today. And it's also important for you to know at this juncture, within this reading here, the importance of balance, the importance of not going too far astray into one concept from another. This means not, I keep seeing like the image of the cross or a cross. It doesn't have to be the religious cross. It could be the one from I can't remember what it's called. It's when it's like perfectly equal. There's a name for it. I can't remember. But it's that center point, the middle way. That's what's coming through for me. The middle way. And that means experiencing the light and the dark. Because the dark is sort of what propels you to the light. Because that pressure being put on you, was it Anthony DeMello? Yeah. I used to read these books by someone else who's no longer with us, Anthony DeMello, some years ago. And one thing he said is that sometimes we all reach this point, or everyone reaches this point in life, where there are only two options: genius or insanity. Or no, he said enlightenment, sorry. I'm confusing with Aquarius. Oh, because we're in the age of Aquarius, and Aquarius represents genius and insanity. And I think they're honestly just intertwined energies, because I think people think others who are ahead of their time are insane, right? Especially at this time where a lot of esoteric things are coming to the surface, and those of us who are called to explore that and unearth that so that we can reconnect it might be looked at as being a bit insane. And it's very Aquarian in nature to step ahead of the crowd, if you will, in an effort to bring the crowd with us. Although a shadow aspect could be being the lone wolf, going in that effort, not trying to bring anyone with you, just wanting to be left alone and doing your own thing. But the light side of this Aquarian energy would be to bring everybody with us. Us, because I'm an Aquarius. But it doesn't matter if you're Aquarius or not. I feel like I went off on a tangent. Oh, because in this wise one, she's a black feather and a white feather, which I take to mean balance. And she also has this owl and this crow. This talks about psychic abilities for me, and psychic abilities of a nature that are often uncovered through pressure, through challenges. And the owl is keeping wisdom from these challenges or the things that you've learned, but releasing the pain associated with it. And you're being asked to give over an old life so that it can be transmuted and balanced out. Here goes, and we got temperance. So this is a confirmation about finding the middle way, the middle path. The moon is about unconscious things, subconscious things, sorry. Oh no, unconscious, that's what came through. Unconscious things making their way to the surface to be worked out. And the sun is about illumination. You could bring the unconscious things to the light, but the moon also has its own light. And there is power in embracing the moon and the aspects of the moon. Because when you understand the shadow so intimately, it doesn't even affect you. It's that idea of being in the world but not of it. So there are some who may see shadows and take them on, become them, because they think that's what they have to do, and it's almost an automatic response. But there are those of us who have explored the shadows, and now we look at them as an observer and realize what they are: a tool that may have gone amok or may not have gone amok, may have served the perfect purpose or may have gone too far. We don't know that until we embrace that observer position, and that's where it becomes important to come to the middle. And to get to the middle, sometimes you have to go way, way to the other end for a while, and then find your balance in the middle somewhere. And this is a path for one who wants to be of service to the collective, because you have to understand both sides of the coin to help integrate what you learn to those around you within their own energetic fields. And this is sacrificial in nature. 9 of Wands, because there's a body laying here, and there's all these candles and all these crows, and then a vulture, and the vulture cleans up and transmutes old things, right? Things that if it sat there would just like, maybe cause disease or something and just like rots. But instead it comes to clean it up to go so that it can serve another purpose, which is nourishment to a creature that does us a great service. And you are sacrificing old ways of being, and you are sacrificing old beliefs. I'm sorry for the interruption, but what I was saying is you're sacrificing an old part of you, an old piece of you, an old way of being. It's egoic in nature, and you're allowing for wisdom to come through of an unconventional nature, and you're allowing that to pierce your energy field and open you up to more of who you are and to new possibilities and opportunities and ways of experiencing this life. And it's alchemist energy, obviously. And as you discover more and more and more and more, it opens you up like a portal, and it may allow you to call on old memories and states of being and things that you could do and understand about the universe and the world, and so on. And this could be done in a variety of ways, which I won't mention because I don't want to limit your experience in any way. I know that your guidance is going to pull you into the right direction on how to discover these things about yourself, whether that be through someone else who's of service that you resonate with, or whether that be through yourself, some ability that you will discover. Because like I said, these abilities tend to pop up under pressure. And divine guardian. This is a time of significant spiritual growth and healing for you. You are protected during these times by the love and strength of Divine Mother Isis. Relax and allow your transformation to happen. Your divine guardian protects you now. Let go. Trust unconditionally in what is happening for you, as there is only divine love beneath the surface of the present situation. Wow, it's both here. Growth in your current situation and divine love under your current situation. And that's the discomfort and that pressure and that trial and challenge that's presenting itself to you. It's pushing something out. It's also, I feel like pressure is alchemical in nature, because pressure can make something become something else, as seen in oysters, I think it is. I don't know. Or something under pressure, diamonds being made under pressure, something like that. I think you understand. And that there could be certain alignments that you'll find that you resonate with. I think astrology is helpful to a certain extent, if you want to look into that. But I think you need to get more into fixed star alignments. So beyond the basic stuff, not basic, sorry. And I think you also need to tap into your own intuition on the things that you see as well, because we're all beautifully made differently. We're all unique. So not every sun in Aquarius is a certain way, and so on. And I think the situation under pressure here is asking you to decide between that genius and insanity, between enlightenment or insanity. So as we know, insanity is making the same decisions over and over again, expecting a different result. And enlightenment is understanding that there's another way. And I also, when I feel enlightenment, I feel like just a dropping of all these old notions and saying, what if none of that's right? What if none of that's real? Then what? What if I say, so what to this? Then what happens? You know? And so that's a sacrifice. It's of old belief systems. And it's a willing sacrifice. It's like that person went and laid themselves there to be changed. On the other side of this pressure that you're experiencing, you're going to discover some pretty wild things. I think it's really going to open up that inner eye. And there's something here about the moon that you need to understand. So I would look into that. See how the moon may play a role in your life at this time. And know that you are safe and that you are protected, because sometimes our fears can get out of hand, especially when we're going through challenging situations. And they start reaching for, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? But you have unconditional support at this time. So just relax and let go. I think that's probably the easiest way to navigate whatever your current external challenge is. Internal, maybe even, but I think the external triggered the internal here, because we're learning to navigate internally the external. All right, I'm just going to take a moment to see if there's anything else. Okay, that is the message of the wise one. So we will move on now to the south, She-Wolf. Okay, so we're now on to the south. There was some time in between. As you can see, it's a darker lighting because it is now nighttime, and I think that's fitting for this one, because we have She-Wolf, Unleash the Wild Within. The Champion, Achievement, Downfall. The King of Coins, which is the King of Pentacles in this deck. Divine Destiny by Isis, or the Isis deck. And the Six of Swords. You are at a point where you are ready to unleash all that is within you, all that wildness that is so natural to children, so beautiful and so magical, except you're not a child. There's no one here to tell you what to do unless you allow them to, unless you give them the power to tell you what to do. There's no one looking over your shoulder saying, act this way, be this way, with any true authority outside of yourself. This is heeding the call of that which is pure within you, of that which is natural. I love the she-wolf because it's saying it's a feminine energy. Gender does not matter here. I'm sure you all know that. This is about energies, and it's a feminine energy just unleashing all that's within her and not caring about what society says how women should think, feel, or be, and really testing the boundaries of how women have been seen in the past and just letting it all out there and following your soul to do what it is that you want to do. Is it to dance? Is it to sing? Is it to howl at the moon? And such wild feminine energy is able to subdue anything. It's like that, what they say about water and rocks, how the water is able to mold the rocks over, a period of time. And the moon affects water. I don't know why that's coming through, but I love how the she-wolf is wearing the wolf and howling at the moon instead of the wolf. It's an emergence. So with achievement downfall, I get that this is on the heels of something quite significant for you. This is an achievement. This is a state of achievement. Stepping into this and becoming all that you are, your wildness, your freedom, your sovereignty. That's what this channel is about. That's what this space is about, Amare Divina. Just releasing all of this and stepping into it and embodying it. And it doesn't matter who's watching. And bless those who are watching. Because there'll be such a profound change within them. This is a restructuring of this world, and you're an you're an embodiment of the restructuring of this world. That's why I get with the King of Pentacles. All that you need and more will be provided for you. It'll just, because you're a champion. I'm getting the idea of someone, they go to win the hand of the lady, so to speak, but maybe it's not the hand of the lady, it's gold, jewels, whatever it is, some kind of treasure. They go to this arena and that's what I'm getting. It's like all of this, the king is handing everything over to you. Please understand this is a metaphor. Because we do not bow or perform or entertain some king, right? This is just a metaphor that the king has crowned you the champion and all will be added on to you because of this. And so with downfall, I'm getting that in the past, and I actually got this from another one of the masters that came through, or a group that the masters came forward with. It's a little difficult to describe the energy, but they were talking about challenge, and challenge is the better word. Challenge that was putting you under pressure that formed, we could say a diamond if you liked it, but it formed something beautiful. Because a decision had to be made on what direction to take in response to that pressure. And that's what the downfall part of this card is. So I don't want you to think about that too much. It's almost like on the heels of a collapse, something new was built, something new was born, and now it's on to the next. Being called in another direction. And you didn't go willingly at first. But do any of us? Because there's several initiations. I heard someone else on YouTube speaking about how there's 2 initiations. Actually, several people were talking about, nothing about this. 2 different YouTubers spoke about this, but they approached it in different ways. One called it 2 awakenings, with the first awakening like, what's the second awakening like? But another, a masculine energy spoke on it that way. And the feminine energy who spoke on it called it initiations. The first initiation you do not choose. And that's what I'm getting from the downfall. You don't choose that first initiation, which is always some kind of challenge, some kind of tower moment, things being flipped on their head. But the second initiation you do choose, and that's where I'm getting the champion from. You choose that second initiation. You decide that you're moving on in. I was going to say moving on up, but really it's a moving on in, going inner and inner and inner and inner, and releasing what's in there. Divine destiny. The divine warrior is within you. Okay. It's always gonna make sense. I want to make sure you can see it. Okay. The divine warrior is within you, helping you to continue with a worthy path even during times of difficulty. When faced with a challenge, a true warrior will summon more of him or herself to the cause. It might be by bringing more wisdom, focus, or intelligence, or surrendering into the divine. The warrior within has great inner resourcefulness and determination. Oh, yes. You have a plethora, an abundance of resources available to you. Now, I don't know what form those are taking. It could be insights, but it's almost like you just let go and you'll be taken to the shore that matches your frequency, your vibration at this. Vibration is not the word. It's like your resonance. You'll be taken to the shore that matches your resonance at this time. So you just let it happen. You just go with it. And during this transition, you can take the time to integrate all that you learned. And the red here is giving me root chakra vibes. So that's empowerment to me. I know it can look like anger when it's imbalanced, but it's almost like you took that and you repurposed it. If it was anger at some point, or not feeling safe, something like that, when the root chakra is imbalanced. But this isn't speaking to imbalance. I'm just saying that at some point it may have been, and you repurposed it. You fixed it. It's also associated with tribalism, which is interesting. You may be sent somewhere. Yeah, you're called to somewhere else. I don't know if this is physically going somewhere else, or I guess it doesn't matter if it's physical or not, because when it comes to these type of journeys, these type of callings, the ascension path, the embodiment of more and more of who you are, like this card is speaking to, we are somewhere else anyway. It's almost like you might have slept in that bed last night, but it's a whole new bed the next day. It has to be. You're not the same person. So there's a journey being taken here, and it could be a spiritual journey. It could be a literal journey that is spiritual, will end up being spiritual in nature. And it's letting go of what success or achievement looked like to you before. It's not the same, and you're coming to understand that. A divine warrior. I love that, because a divine warrior is about seeing through the illusion and claiming their sovereignty, like we spoke of earlier, or before, or earlier. So consider this the call, although you've had many, I'm sure. Consider this a confirmation. Consider this support in its surest form. Consider this I'm just getting freedom, freedom, freedom. Is this all? I feel like, is this message done? Yeah. That was a lot quicker than I thought it would be. All right. You're on to a shore that suits you. Suits you better. Well, all right, then I'll move on to the final direction here. All right, for our final direction, we have autumn, which is release the old and rest. And our cards are the priest, perseverance and faith. Which one was next? I think it was this one. Two of Wands. Your Isis card is soul retrieval. And you actually got two of these. One was the Ace of Swords and the other was the Six of Cups. So let's see if we can fit them all in here. Give me a moment. Okay, so autumn, I get the harvest as well. So it's time to pick up those seeds you planted, look at what they've become, let it provide nourishment for the next level that is coming, and give yourself time to integrate that nourishment, which is probably wisdom that you've obtained. It needs to settle into the bones, settle into the cells, and become the gifts that they are meant to be. And then releasing any past hurts and pains or memories, releasing the roles you may have placed on people, and by virtue of those roles, making whatever it is they've done or said much harder to bear. Because if a stranger said those things to you, maybe they bother you a little bit and you'd move on. But once we give them the role of this person to me, especially when it comes to relatives, you've given them this title. Well, they taught you to give them the title, right? You grew up being like, oh, this is my whatever. Once they've taken on that role, everything that takes place between you and that other takes on a whole other level of suffering and challenge because of this perspective of what the other is supposed to be or do or say in regards to you, and vice versa. Releasing yourself from the trap of playing the role because of some title that has been bestowed upon you. You've toyed around with it and you've learned a lot about what that's like, what's for you, what's not for you, what fits, what doesn't fit. It's time to lay it to rest and allow it to become the fertilizer for what's next for you, and to consume the nourishment of the wisdom you've obtained so that can be integrated as well. None of it's going to waste. It's all part of a cycle. Just like this reading was circular in nature, we will begin again. The cards may look new. If we were to do this reading again, maybe we probably will. So with the Two of Wands, it's about making a choice about that which is familiar with you in the Six of Cups. It's about making a choice between the familiar and the new. The familiar and the new. Understanding that the familiar is going to hold you in place, and the new is trying to give yourself back to you. Because who you are, as I've said several times during this reading, is so much more than you've ever been told, and so much more than any role anyone's ever put on you. And in order for you to know that, to integrate that, to feel that in your being, you have to make new choices. You have to move in a new direction, and you have to take new actions, because the Two of Wands is about new actions and experiences by virtue of your choice, by virtue of where you're going to go. This isn't a push. This isn't a tower. Thank goodness, right? We may have had enough of those. This isn't a tower where things crumble and now you're forced to face the instability, the futility of something. It's not like that at all. You've been given a choice here. And action is the language of the physical realm, as Bashar says. And so the choice will be reflected in your actions. And it will assist in the integration of the nourishment of the wisdom that you've grown throughout these seasons. Ace of Wands. This is an opportunity to expand your mind, to expand your perspective, and to move along what's been called the upward spiral, which is where a situation may repeat or something may come along again, but it's you're a whole other person, therefore there's a whole other perspective, and therefore a whole other experience on the matter. It's like something that used to just trigger you all the time, and all of a sudden you're elevating, you're ascending, and you're on a different point on that spiral, and it doesn't trigger you anymore. You just kind of like, oh, you understand it's something within them, or maybe you don't even notice that it didn't trigger you because you're so far up the spiral, and things work their way out of our experiences that way, where it's not even a thing anymore. The Priest, perseverance and faith. So you have a huge opportunity within your hands, a huge knowing. This is a significant point on your journey, and it will close up this ring around the rosy we've been doing here today, and it will require perseverance and faith. But the perseverance isn't about suffering. Again, not this time. The perseverance here is about taking the action and continue to do it anyway, even if there's a little fear, doing it anyway, persevering and committing to what you know to be new and true about yourself, and opening yourself up to the fact that you don't know everything, and that's okay too. You just know now a little bit more about whatever it is that kept you stuck in the past before, loyal to something that won't move with you. I mean, it can, but you have to walk away. I'm not going to say you have to walk away because there's nothing here saying that. Soul retrieval. Isis, healing goddess, now offers you spiritual restoration and deep soul healing through the art of soul retrieval, reclaiming pieces of you lost through trauma, old and new. Soon you will enjoy greater wellness, energy, and power. So be willing to go through the healing process, knowing that any emotional clearing taking place is leading you to wholeness. I should speak on that as well. So when we make our new decisions, our new actions towards a wholer, more healed us, old things will come up. Old feelings, heavy, dense feelings will come up again. Sometimes it's even things we thought we worked through. I mean, we did, but it's a clearing. It's almost like you feel it and you release it. You don't even need to overanalyze it. I'm obviously not a doctor. And I can't tell you, I'm not here to tell you what to. Sometimes this is a detox. Things are going to come up and be released to make space for you, to make space for the more whole you, to give you a choice if you want to hold on to it or not. And so that's all right. I just don't want you to be upset or nervous or feel like you're not doing well just because some feelings are coming up again, or some thoughts or some memories, or even like an interaction that's reflective of some old version of you. I don't want you to take that as that you're not doing well. This is just that upward spiral I'm talking about. Things coming back around again, but you're somewhere else and you are someone else, and you have the opportunity to reflect that in the physical world by your actions or reactions or lack thereof. You may identify with an archetype that we'll call the priest or priestess. This isn't religious in nature. When I think of priest or priestess, I'm thinking of like ancient leaders who underwent certain trials and initiations that allow them to understand the depth of shadow and darkness and trial and tribulation, and also understand the light that was to be had there, so that they could not lead people, not place themselves above people, not even be the middleman to source energy, but so that they could guide people, so they could be understanding to them, so that they could hold massive amounts of massive amount of light within their body. So just by virtue of interaction with them, you could feel better. You could access that light and begin to integrate it within yourself. This isn't about replacing the people's power. It's enhancing it. It's a little sacrificial in nature, I guess, but I don't mean like the sacrifice is that you had to go through all this in the first place. That's what I mean. You had to go through these tough things just so you can embody a massive amount of light and stand in it powerfully, because you know the dark. And the light will always claim the dark. That's just how it's going to be, because that's where it came from. I don't know why I'm saying that. But anyway, it's inclusive. The light is not exclusive, it's inclusive. All right, so that is the end of this journey around mastery. I hope to see you all again. Thank you. Bye-bye.